This isn't the NFL you remember. Time is still broken here. The players are still arriving backwards. The legends still haven't been born, and every franchise is chasing a legacy that may never come. This is a 30-year simulation, told like a story, year by year, moment by moment, filmed, tracked, and edited like it actually happened. But don't expect it to make sense. In part 1, we watched 5 seasons unfold, and nothing played out the way it was supposed to. Now, we step into part 2, years 6 through 10. A new wave of rookies, new champions, and a timeline that continues to twist in on itself. Some teams will rise, others will finally fall, and a few will never recover from what's coming. It's not just the players who are out of order, it's everything. The 6th season of the Backwards Timeline opened with a wave of anticipation, and a draft class built for chaos. The rookies of the 2019 class entered the league, and with them came high-impact defenders and a quarterback who would turn the season on its head. First overall, Dallas Cowboys ended up taking right end Nick Bosa. Second overall, the Detroit Lions go defensive tackle with Quinnen Williams. Third overall, the Jacksonville Jaguars take left end Clelin Ferrell. Fourth overall, the Philadelphia Eagles go right end Brian Burns. Fifth overall, the Indianapolis Colts take wide receiver Marquise Brown. Sixth overall, the Minnesota Vikings go tight end and take TJ Hawkinson. Seventh overall, the Baltimore Ravens go quarterback and take Kyler Murray. Eighth overall, the Seattle Seahawks take cornerback Byron Murphy Jr. Ninth overall, the San Francisco 49ers take defensive tackle Ed Oliver Jr. And 10th overall, the Las Vegas Raiders take left end Rashawn Gary. The NFC entered the year winless in Super Bowls. 5 chances, 5 losses, and despite strong rosters, they couldn't seem to close. Bryce Young of the Buffalo Bills continued to light up the league, winning his 2nd consecutive MVP, and leading the league in passing yards with 4,405 and 33 touchdowns. Tyler Huntley, still performing at an elite level for Tennessee, followed closely behind. In the backfield, T. Benson of the Arizona Cardinals ran for 1,292 yards and 12 scores. Minnesota's K. Milner and New Orleans' T. Bigsby rounded out the rushing elite. Jackson Smith-Njigba led the league in receiving yards with 1,161, while a right end in Indianapolis posted an eye-popping 20 sacks. On the defensive interior, Byron Murphy II of Seattle notched 16 of his own, and Green Bay's middle linebacker led the league with 7 interceptions. But the story of the season was not about statistics. It was about 2 birds of prey. The Baltimore Ravens, led by a rookie quarterback Kyler Murray, were seeded 5th in the AFC. They weren't the favorite, but they sure as hell played like one. In the wild card, the Ravens won 31-24 over the Indianapolis Colts. In the divisional, they won 23-15 over the Los Angeles Chargers, eliminating the defending champs. Then, in the AFC Championship, the Ravens won over the Buffalo Bills 30-28, taking down the reigning MVP to march into Super Bowl VI. On the other side, the Philadelphia Eagles, now led by a surprisingly dominant Zach Wilson, were the number 1 seed in the NFC. In the divisional, they handed the Packers a pretty good defeat with a 24-7 defeat over the Packers. And then in the NFC Championship, they won 34-6 over the Washington Commanders. Super Bowl would be a story of 2 young teams, 2 quarterbacks with something to prove, and 1 stage to do it on. From the opening whistle, the Ravens came out swinging. Kyler Murray threw strikes. The defense closed in early, and Baltimore took a 14-0 lead. The Eagles answered with a touchdown, but just before halftime, Baltimore struck again, reportedly off a kick return touchdown that shattered the momentum. At the break, it was 21-7. In the third quarter, Baltimore extended the lead to 28-7, but Zach Wilson managed to answer with a scoring drive, narrowing it to 28-14. Then came the knockout blow. With just over 4 minutes left, Kyler Murray led one final clock-eating drive. It started deep in Ravens territory, and it ended at the Eagles' 14-yard line. By the end of it, the clock read 0-0-0. No desperation, no miracle, just domination. The final score, Ravens 35, Eagles 14. Kyler Murray walked away with a Rookie of the Year, a Super Bowl MVP, and a Super Bowl ring. The NFC walked away with their 6th straight loss on the biggest stage. And now here is a look at the current Super Bowl leaders. Tennessee Titans leading everybody with 2 wins. And like I mentioned a minute ago, the NFC teams still at 0. The legend of the Bird Bowl, though, it belongs to Baltimore. And the NFL timeline continues to spiral deeper into the unknown. Season 7 arrived in the shadow of a rising dynasty. The Baltimore Ravens had just lifted Lombardi in Kyler Murray's rookie campaign. But now, the spotlight swung west. New stars, new heartbreaks, and the bitter ache of a familiar fall. And with that came the 2018 draft class. First overall, the Falcons take halfback Saquon Barkley. Second, the Rams take right end Bradley Chubb. Third overall, the Raiders take quarterback Baker Mayfield. Fourth overall, the Cowboys take left end Marcus Davenport. Fifth overall, the Buccaneers take cornerback Jair Alexander. Sixth overall, the Lions take left outside linebacker Raekwon Smith. Seventh overall, the Tennessee Titans take right tackle Austin Corbett. Eighth overall, the Kansas City Chiefs take wide receiver Calvin Ridley. Ninth overall, the Cleveland Browns take quarterback Sam Darnold. And at 10, the Pittsburgh Steelers take cornerback Denzel Ward. In the season, Anthony Richardson of the 49ers won the MVP. With 4,508 yards, 41 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions, and a 124.5 passer rating. Caleb Williams and Joe Burrow chased him closely in production. The rushing leader, Jonathan Brooks of the Panthers, with 1,254 yards and 13 touchdowns. Second in the rushing was Trey Benson of the Cardinals, 1,240 yards and 12 touchdowns. For the receiving leader, Kayvon Coleman of the Bills at 1,455 yards and 17 touchdowns. And second, very close second, Rome Odunze with 1,440 yards and 14 touchdowns. For the sack leaders, Jade Newton and Derek Brown of the Chiefs both had 15 sacks each. For the interceptions leader, Greg Newsome of the Patriots led the league with 7. With a 15-2 record, the Carolina Panthers returned to the grand stage under Joe Burrow. Their ground game thrived behind back Jonathan Brooks, and they boasted a stacked defense led by a stud right outside linebacker and a young Antoine Winfield Jr. anchoring the secondary. The Los Angeles Chargers at 12-5 clawed their way back behind Trevor Lawrence, J.K. Dobbins, and a tough, balanced roster. In the AFC Championship, the Chargers bested the Bills with a 28-20 score. In the NFC Championship, it was just a slaughter. The Panthers won 42-24, ending the Bears' chance at a 4th Super Bowl appearance. And in the cards, a Super Bowl V rematch. Trevor Lawrence versus Joe Burrow again. It was tight early. The Chargers led 13-7 at halftime. By the start of the fourth quarter, it was 23-14 Los Angeles. Carolina stalled on their drive and punted it back to Trevor Lawrence, who methodically guided the Chargers down to the 10-yard line. A field goal extended the lead, 26-14. Then came the march. Joe Burrow wasted no time, hitting chunk plays through the air. One stunning 30-plus yard throw made defenders look pretty foolish, but the dream unraveled. With 4 minutes and 44 seconds on the clock, Burrow scrambled, and he got sandwiched. The ball came loose. What happened next? Ended up being Chargers' ball. And they bled the clock. But they were stopped at the Panthers 42, and they ended up punting it away. Burrow ended up taking over with 1 minute and 47 seconds left and a 1 timeout. He carved down the field, but it was a little too late. With 14 seconds left, 4th and 15, Burrow threw to his halfback near the end zone, and he dropped it. Right there, the game was really over. Final, Chargers 26, Panthers 14. Trevor Lawrence secured his second Super Bowl MVP. Now, a legacy checkpoint. Anthony Richardson wins his first MVP. Trevor Lawrence now has 2 rings. Joe Burrow has now lost 2 Super Bowls. And the NFC has now lost 7. Yes, 7 straight Super Bowls. The weight is growing heavier. And so are the doubts. But now the Super Bowl count: Tennessee Titans 2, Los Angeles Chargers tied with them at 2, Pittsburgh Steelers at 1, Baltimore Ravens at 1, and the Buffalo Bills also at 1. And once again, NFC teams, nada. Before the draft even arrived, there was a feeling in the air, a stillness before the storm. A turning point had arrived. The league, now entering its 8th year in reverse, was beginning to reveal a strange poetry of fate. Once forgotten names returned to prominence. Legendary figures began to appear, and none more iconic than a young gunslinger about to step into the spotlight for the very first time. First overall, in this 2017 NFL Draft class, the Seattle Seahawks take right end Myles Garrett. At number 2, the Atlanta Falcons take left end Solomon Thomas. At number 3, the Tennessee Titans take quarterback Mitchell Trubisky. At number 4, the New York Giants take left tackle Garrett Bowles. At number 5, the Minnesota Vikings take halfback Christian McCaffrey. At number 6, the Pittsburgh Steelers take right end Jonathan Allen. At number 7, the New York Jets take cornerback Tre'Davious White. At number 8, the Dallas Cowboys take cornerback Marshawn Lattimore. At number 9, the Las Vegas Raiders take halfback Leonard Fournette. And at number 10, the New Orleans Saints take left end Derek Barnett. A few massive storylines define the year. Most notably, Patrick Mahomes, the now legendary quarterback, was finally drafted into this timeline, taken by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Meanwhile, Caleb Williams added to his legacy, earning his 4th MVP award, an achievement that now places him firmly among the greatest regular season players in this alternate history. As the playoff picture formed, the Los Angeles Chargers emerged once again as the AFC's number 1 seed, fresh off another dominant campaign behind 99 overall quarterback Trevor Lawrence. Their playoff run was efficient and ruthless. They clipped the Indianapolis Colts in a tight divisional matchup 33-28, and then grounded the Miami Dolphins in a one-sided AFC championship 31-12. On the NFC side, it was Anthony Richardson and the San Francisco 49ers who made the waves. Despite entering the playoffs as the number 2 seed, they were forced to take the long road. They edged out the Commanders in the wild card, survived a high-scoring shootout against the Panthers in the divisional, a 43-37 final, and locked down a 27-17 win over the Bears in the NFC Championship. This all set up an epic Super Bowl showdown, the San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Chargers. Both teams entering with stellar records. The Chargers at 14-3, 49ers at 13-4, and their rosters were stacked. Anthony Richardson was rising to prominence as the 49ers' 99 overall centerpiece, supported by a core of players like Ed Oliver Jr. on the defensive line, Josh Jacobs in the backfield, Micah Patrick patrolling deep, and a wide receiver room that could light up the field. On the other side stood Trevor Lawrence, already a two-time Super Bowl MVP, leading a well-oiled Chargers machine. Joe Alt, Elijah Moore, J.K. Dobbins, Willie Hernandez, all playing key roles in the team's balanced attack. The game itself, tight, physical, and tactical. It was a slugfest from the beginning, with both teams trading scores, but the Chargers held the lead most of the way. In the fourth quarter, they clung to a one-score advantage. Then, Trevor Lawrence orchestrated one of the most methodical, ice-cold drives in Super Bowl history. Starting deep in his own territory, he chewed up the clock with calculated precision. And on 3rd and goal from the 7-yard line, Lawrence saw daylight, stepped up in the pocket, and sprinted to the end zone himself. Touchdown. 35-21 Chargers. But Anthony Richardson wasn't done. He launched a comeback drive, connecting on a deep sideline throw, then converting a crucial 4th and 9 with 2-minute warning looming. Richardson continued marching. Then came a penalty, a defensive pass interference in the end zone that gave San Francisco a 1st and goal from the 1. And Richardson, he punched it in, 35-29. And after that, one stop. That is all they needed. But the Chargers would not be denied. On a crucial 3rd and 2, J.K. Dobbins found the crease, sealed the first down, and sealed the fate for the 49ers. From there, Trevor Lawrence took the knee, closing out his 3rd Super Bowl victory, and earning his 3rd Super Bowl MVP along the way. The final score, the Los Angeles Chargers, 35, and the San Francisco 49ers, 29. For Anthony Richardson, it was a valiant effort, but ultimately, another chapter in the book of what ifs. The NFL landscape was shaken before the first snap of the 2032 season. A new wave of young stars were drafted into the league, and the Arizona Cardinals made headlines immediately, taking edge rusher Joey Bosa first overall, a pick that would have profound implications by season's end. At number 2 overall, the Buffalo Bills take cornerback Jalen Ramsey. Number 3, the Denver Broncos take quarterback Jared Goff. At number 4, the Houston Texans take left tackle Laramie Tunsil. At number 5, the Seattle Seahawks take left end DeForest Buckner. At number 6, the Tennessee Titans take halfback Ezekiel Elliott. At number 7, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take wide receiver Laquan Treadwell. At number 8, the Los Angeles Rams take defensive tackle Sheldon Rankins. At number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars take left tackle Ronnie Staley. And at number 10, the Dallas Cowboys take right tackle Taylor Decker. In 2032, at quarterback, Bryce Young etched his name deeper into MVP history, claiming his 3rd MVP award, continuing his rise as one of the league's most dynamic passers. While many teams looked dominant throughout the regular season, none had a more surprising run than the Arizona Cardinals, who snuck into the playoffs at just 9-8 and ended up writing a Cinderella script that defied belief. Meanwhile, the Baltimore Ravens were a powerhouse all season, finishing 13-4 and once again led by the elusive Kyler Murray. With weapons like Justin Jefferson and Kenneth Walker III, the Ravens entered the playoffs with high expectations and a Super Bowl mindset. Super Bowl 9, Arizona Cardinals versus the Baltimore Ravens. In Super Bowl 9, the first half belonged entirely to Arizona. Tua Tagovailoa, the Cardinals quarterback, came out firing, and the defense clamped down hard, helping Arizona jump out to a 17-0 lead. But before halftime, the Ravens clawed back with the touchdown, making it 17-7 at the break. Then, momentum shifted. Coming out of halftime, the Ravens scored another touchdown. Suddenly, it was 17-14. And then, they took the lead early into the third, 21-17, thanks to Kyler Murray's relentless playmaking. But early in the fourth quarter, Tua found a rhythm again, leading the Cardinals downfield for a critical score, 24-21 Arizona. And, after a defensive stand, the Cardinals got the ball back and tried to put the game away. On a key 3rd and 5 from their own 47, Tua dropped back, but was sacked, leading to a 4th and 13 and a punt. Then disaster it struck in Baltimore. Kenneth Walker III went down with an injury. And on a crucial scramble, Kyler Murray fumbled after getting sandwiched by the Cardinals defense. Arizona scooped it up and they returned it all the way back in the end zone for a touchdown. The score at this point now was 31-21 Cardinals, with just over 5 minutes remaining in the game. Still though, the Ravens would not quit. A few big completions from Murray, including to Jefferson, brought them inside the red zone, but the offense ended up stalling. A sack, an incompletion, and then a tipped pass forced them to kick a field goal, 31-24, with under 3 minutes to go. Then the Cardinals, they tried to ice it. They got one first down, but on a crucial 3rd and 8, Tua was sacked. With the clock ticking and all 3 Ravens timeouts gone, Arizona punted it away. Murray got the ball back at his own 23. The Ravens began their final drive. A few key completions moved the chains, but pressure mounted. a drop pass, a batted ball, and on 4th and 3, with the Super Bowl on the line, Murray scrambled and was sacked from behind. The clock bled out then. Game over. Final score, Arizona Cardinals 31, Baltimore Ravens 21. The Cardinals had done it. From a 9-8 to Super Bowl champions. Tua Tagovailoa was efficient, and he was definitely composed in this game, hoisting the Lombardi. And Joey Bosa, a rookie cornerstone, had transformed the defense. The 2032 season had its champion. And now the list of Super Bowl winners in this alternate timeline now stood at the Chargers with 3, the Titans with 2, the Ravens with 1, the Bills with 1, the Cardinals with 1, and the Steelers with 1. The NFC finally had a Super Bowl victory to call their own. Before the draft, there was only silence. The kind that follows collapse. The kind that precedes a reckoning. A decade into this alternate NFL timeline, and the league was no longer ruled by order or tradition. The old kings were bruised. The new blood was restless as teams prepared their war rooms for the 2015 draft class. They weren't just picking players. They were reaching for control of the league, teetering on chaos. But the storm was coming. But first, the roll call of fate. First overall, the Dallas Cowboys take defensive end Dante Fowler Jr. Second, the Cleveland Browns take wide receiver Kevin White. Third overall, the New York Jets take wide receiver Amari Cooper. Fourth overall, the Denver Broncos take defensive tackle Leonard Williams. Fifth overall, the Cincinnati Bengals take defensive end Vic Beasley Jr. Sixth overall, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers take cornerback Marcus Peters. Seventh overall, the Indianapolis Colts take wide receiver Nelson Aguilar. At number 8, the Jacksonville Jaguars take right end Bud Dupree. At number 9 overall, the Los Angeles Chargers take cornerback Trey Waynes. And at number 10, the Houston Texans take wide receiver Philip Dorsett. By 2033, the tides of power were shifting. The once unstoppable dynasties were now haunted by rising upstarts, and for the first time in this alternate timeline, a spark of parity was finally catching fire. It was a season where Kyler Murray earned his long-awaited validation. The Ravens' elusive quarterback claimed the 2033 MVP award, capping off a campaign that stunned skeptics and silenced critics. But he wasn't alone in lighting up the league. Anthony Richardson fired 47 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions. Bryce Young went 43-4. And Trevor Lawrence tallied a staggering 45 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. And Josh Allen of the New York Giants, well, he got 49 touchdowns and 17 picks. It was pretty chaotic, but potent. On the ground, Braylon Allen of the Jets bulldozed his way to 1,176 rushing yards. Saquon Barkley racked up 1,169 for the Falcons. Cam Akers, steady as ever in Green Bay, pulled out 1,168 with 11 touchdowns. And in the air, it was Amari Rodgers who became a legend. 1,748 receiving yards and 27 touchdowns. A year of fireworks. Defensively, the edge belonged to the Beasts. Vita Vea of Miami and Will Anderson Jr. of the Vikings each posted 19.5 sacks, while Chase Young stayed hot with 16.5 in New York. In the secondary, Clark Phillips III of the Titans led the league with 7 picks. The playoffs, though, gave us juggernauts, but the Super Bowl X matchup was anything but expected. The Kansas City Chiefs, 12-5, were a known machine behind Deshaun Watson, while the Minnesota Vikings, just 10-7, were a violet wildfire with J.J. McCarthy under center, centered by defensive menace Patrick Queen and offensive star Christian McCaffrey. From the opening kick, the Vikings delivered a clinic. McCarthy orchestrated 3 flawless scoring drives. Christian McCaffrey, the workhorse, set the tone early with a bruising first half performance. At halftime, 28-0 Minnesota. The Chiefs, shell-shocked, scrambled to find footing in the second half. Eventually, Watson clawed 3 touchdowns back, making it 35-21 in the fourth. But the Vikings refused to blink. With 2:47 left, McCarthy handed off to McCaffrey from the 6-yard line. Kansas City burned their timeouts, and they were clinging to hope. But on 3rd and 3, McCaffrey bulldozed up the middle for the kill shot. 42-21. Watson then attempted a miracle drive, but Andrew Booth Jr. had other plans. The Vikings corner leapt like a shadow across the sky, intercepting Watson at about the 40-yard line and nearly taking it back for 6. Moments later, the Vikings would run it in, with McCaffrey again. 49-21. No late surge, no miracle, no comeback. The NFC, after losing the first 8 Super Bowls in this timeline, had now won 2 in a row. And for the Minnesota Vikings, this wasn't just redemption. It was their first Super Bowl title, literally ever. J.J. McCarthy, with ruthless precision and unshakable command, was named Super Bowl MVP. In the land of 10,000 lakes, a golden reflection finally glimmers on the water. And with that final whistle, the confetti fell like cold rain upon a dynasty shattered. The Vikings didn't just win a title, they rewrote their fate. From heartbreak to triumph, from silence to legacy. This was 10 years in the saga of reinvention. If this journey gripped you, if you felt the tension, the drama, the fire in your gut, then don't let it go just yet. Because this is not just football. This is history being rebuilt, one broken crown at a time. Thank you for watching though. If you enjoyed this, consider leaving a like, subscribing, and sharing it with a friend who knows the game the way you do. There's more ahead, and the next chapter is already calling. And if you were so entertained by this you couldn't walk away and haven't seen part 1, then click on the screen to watch part 1. It's just as good, maybe even a little bit better, depending on who you are.